This is episode 186 of the Everything Saxophone Podcast. Welcome to the Everything Saxophone Podcast. I'm your host, Donna Schwartz, bringing you one-of-a-kind interviews with incredible saxophonists from all genres, music educators, and industry leaders in the saxophone world. Max Ionata has garnered critical acclaim for his fresh take on the standards of the jazz masters. Born in 1972, he's considered one of the greatest Italian contemporary saxophonists on the scene today, having published over 70 records. Max has recorded with musicians such as Robin Eubanks, Mike Stern, Joe Locke, Bob Mintzer, Joel Fromm, and many others all over the world. You could catch his links on our site, saxophonepodcast.com. This is going to be a very different episode in that we conducted it over email. Max felt his command of English may not have held up well during our usual types of interviews. Now, what's also going to be different is that you're going to get to hear many selections from his latest album entitled Like. And I had some specific questions on some of the songs, as well as where the title Like came from, the influence of soul music and Stevie Wonder on some of his songs, the exercises he does to get his even tone throughout his entire range, how he developed the smoothness of his lines, the voice leading that he has is just incredible, his upcoming projects, and much more. By the way, the music you're listening to in the background is his rendition of Cold Duck Time, and this song is on his latest album, Like. Before we get to the episode, let's get to the shoutouts of the week. These two are from episode 184 with Dr. Ed Kaye. This is from Brecker Fan, and this person wrote, Dr. Kaye is so inspirational. He literally changed many people's lives with his wisdom and his words. I'm one of them. Studied with him at the MDCC back in 2003-2004. Thank you, Dr. Kaye. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you got so much out of this episode. That was a fantastic one. And also from the same episode, Barry Arbogast, he wrote, great interview. Thanks so much, Barry. From the episode 178, Eastman Wins at the NAMM Show 2023, Jazz Marcel wrote, finally, someone is talking about this horn. I was blown away with the 652 model I tried at the local guitar center. Might have to switch from my worn-out 875. So what he's talking about is the brand new 52nd Street tenor sax from Eastman Winds. Thanks so much, Jazz Marcel. I'm so glad that you got a lot out of that episode. Now, if you would like to be featured in the shout-out of the week, leave a review in the podcast app or on Podbean, Spotify, the article on our website at saxophonepodcast.com, our Facebook page, facebook.com/Everything Saxophone Podcast, our YouTube channel, or anywhere else you listen in. And sign up to get notified first when each and every episode becomes available. Just head on over to saxophonepodcast.com. Want to get searchable transcripts for many of the video episodes for the show? Become a patron. Support the show for as little as $2 a month. You'll not only get those searchable transcripts, you'll also get a complete podcast directory of the episodes, many bonus videos with extra content and tips. You'll also get the opportunity to give me suggestions for who to interview. So head on over to our Patreon site at patreon.com/Everything Saxophone. That's one word. Patreon, patreon.com/Everything Saxophone. Okay, let's get to this really cool, unique interview with Max Ionata. So my first question to Max was, what was the inspiration for this album? And he replied, I always loved to play with a piano-less trio, and with this band in particular, we used to play together very often. We've been planning this recording since we played together the first time, but it's always difficult to organize a recording session, first of all, because we live in different countries. Last year, I planned a tour in the south of Italy near the city of Bari, which has one of my favorite recording studios, Sorriso Studio by Tommy Cavalieri. So we decided to try to record something with just a few hours between two concerts, and this is the result. We just played what we've played in the live concerts. We started around 11 a.m. and we played till 7 p.m. I think that thousands of recordings in the history of jazz music were recorded with this concept, so we tried it ourselves. And by the way, the other people on this album are Jesper Bodelson, who plays double bass, and Martin Moretti Anderson, who plays the drums. My next question was, do you perform often with this trio? And he said, yes, we often play in North Europe, Spain, and Italy sometimes. Unfortunately, I play more abroad than in my own country. Don't ask me why, please, because I absolutely don't know what to answer. Now, my next set of questions were based on the fact that I was noticing he was playing a lot of soulful music, and I was thinking about some of his influences. So in the background, I want to play his version of Soul Station, Hank Mobley's Soul Station. So my next question to Max was, what kind of influence has soul music had on you? And I wrote, I'm thinking about the choices of Soul Station and Cold Duck Time. And he wrote, soul music is, in my opinion, an important part of jazz vocabulary. I think about Stevie Wonder, for example, who wrote hundreds of wonderful songs that have together something that comes from Duke Ellington harmonies or Broadway songs in general. Try to play a Stevie song with swinging drums and an upright bass walking, and you'll understand what I mean. My next question deals with his song entitled Like, and why don't we listen to a little bit of that song before I ask and answer the question. So my question was to Max, for your song Like, what's the story behind it? I like how the tenor and bass are playing the melody together. And he wrote, we're living in the quote-unquote like era. Everyone's ready to do anything to have a like on social media. And I think this is the new money of the future. Because a lot of likes means popularity, success, more work, and so more money. He wrote, but I didn't think about all these things. I just called this tune Like because I wrote the melody on the harmony of like someone in love. I'm just a jazz man. Money is not very important to me. Laughing out loud. Let's listen to a little bit more of this song, Like, because I do like it. My next question was, I'm amazed at the evenness of tone, your tone throughout your range, especially during the larger interval leaps. I mean, it is rock solid. I asked him, what types of exercises have you worked on to develop that flexibility? And he wrote back, Donna, I already told you that you're very kind to me. I am, but you know what? He's so awesome. Okay, anyway, he said, I don't think I do anything special with the horn. Anyway, if I had to find a way to improve this side of the saxophone, I'd play the horn as the left hand of pianists, playing the chords of a tune in this way: root in the lower part, the 10th, which is the third, major or minor, and the 7th in the upper octave, alternating the 3rd and the 7th as the chords flow. So that's a little bit into his thinking process. Let's listen to a little bit more of this tune, Like. Now, my next question was on setup, and I asked, are you using the same setup since we spoke the last time, which was June 2022? And you can check out that episode on our saxophonepodcast.com site. It's episode 132. And he replied, I don't remember which setup I was using in June 2022, but I can say that on this recording, I played my SBA tenor with my Sios signature mouthpiece and D'Addario Select Jazz 4S unfiled reeds. Next song up is the song Oblivion, and I think this is so beautiful. Check it out. And so I asked him, I said, Oblivion is a beautiful song. It's very melodic and wistful. What made you choose to add this song to the album? He wrote, I always loved that melody, and I always wanted to play it sometimes, but I never had the chance. I thought that the sound of the trio was perfect for this tune, and I remember that Jesper and Martin were enthusiastic when I proposed it. This next song is called Who Cares? Let's play a little bit of this one. Check this one out. It's really cool. Such an even tone going right to that big drop down to low B. I love the way Max puts sequences in his playing. It's just so cool. It's great for the audience to digest the music. All right, so my question, I said to him, who cares? So, not who cares, but I said, for the song, who cares? Your solo is just an effortless, smooth line with every phrase. There isn't a wasted note. I noticed you often don't go into the altissimo register, but when you did in this song, like around 1 minute and 57 seconds into the next phrase, that was really smooth. And actually, before I get to the question, let's listen to that section. Okay, going on with the question. So I said you have this uncanny ability to create these melodies that fit each song so well. It's like they're composed. Even though you don't sound like Paul Desmond, you share that same ability. Was he ever an influence in your playing or on your playing? And he wrote, this is one of the best compliments for a soloist, so thank you very much, Donna. And I really meant it. That's what I was thinking when I heard this. So he wrote, because creating a good melody on a solo is, of course, very hard, I like very much your comparison with the great Paul Desmond, but I have to be honest, I don't listen to him so much. So I was wrong. He wrote, maybe this side of my phrasing is more inspired by Stan Getz, and thinking about modern players like Seamus Blake. Okay, that's pretty cool. I remember we had spoken about Stan Getz's influence on him, but we never spoke about Seamus Blake's influence, so that was very cool that he said that. All right, let's listen to a little bit of the next song entitled But. That's B-U-T. That's got a really cool groove to that. I love that funky groove. And I wrote to him, I said, I love the groove for this song. That melodic line going over the bass, descending chromatically. This almost feels like a TV theme song from the late 1970s, early 1980s, when there actually were TV theme songs, and they were pretty good. Now, I also wrote, at 2 minutes and 55 seconds in to his song, there was a slight reference to Charlie Parker. And I wrote that line at 2 minutes and 59 seconds. I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I asked him, what inspired this song? And he wrote, I wrote that tune many years ago and already recorded it on a trio album with two giant American musicians, Reuben Rogers and Clarence Penn. The album was released in 2011, and I remember that in the song list, I needed something with a sound different than swing. So I tried to write a song with that tempo without any kind of inspiration. Sometimes that works. Laughing out loud. I'm going to go a little ahead and let's listen to that spot around 2:55 in his recording, and then you'll hear a reference to Charlie Parker, and then there's such an incredible line after that. That was the Charlie Parker thing. And that was the incredible line I was talking about that starts like around 2 minutes and 59 into his song. It's so incredible. It's melodic and it's so rhythmic. My next question to Max was, last time we talked about exercises you would give some students for working on improvisation. I'm curious as to how you develop the ability to make your line so smooth and melodic. Is it all from trying to play, for example, Stan Getz solos very slowly? Because that's what he said last time, and this was his answer. He said, this thing comes to me in a natural way, maybe because of my background as an Italian. We have a big tradition in the melodic singing of songs, and when I was young, I used to play with bands that play in wedding parties, and of course, I listened to a lot of that music. Of course, to build a good solo, you need something more than listening, and I used to practice this thing. For example, one thing that I used to practice on is trying to connect changes, moving from one chord to another. The most important thing is landing in the new key with a correct note. I always try to use the smallest melodic interval between changes. You always have a very good connection that way, keeping the same note, moving a half step up or down, maximum a whole step up or down. So for example, from the chord G major 7, G, B, D, F sharp, to E7 flat 9, E, G sharp, B, D, F natural. If you're playing an A on the G major 7 chord, you can do that. You can play the ninth. If you're playing the A, you could go to the G sharp. That's the third in the E7 flat 9. Or you could play the flat 5, the B flat. Okay, you could play that B flat on that E7 flat 9. If you're playing the B on the G major 7 chord, you can keep the same note, the 5th. That'll also work as well. This is the best way to connect changes and have a melodic line solo, no more than the steps that I mentioned. Let's listen to the song 2022. My next question was, what's your approach for adding tension to your lines? I don't really hear you playing outside the key often. And Max responded, sometimes there are no reasons to adding tensions, but sometimes it is necessary. When I need to do it, I just try to play the opposite of the answer I wrote on question 10. So in other words, what I think he's referring to is that in question 10, which was all about, how everything is so smooth and all that kind of thing, it's his voice leading. I think for him, tension, one of the ways that he does tension is to not use voice leading. And so he says, I just play what comes to mind, keeping as much as possible the right tempo on the lines. That works much better. My final question to Max was, what projects do you have coming up the rest of this year, 2023, and in 2024? And he wrote to me, with Jesper and Martin, we're planning many beautiful things for the near future. A tour in Denmark in October 2023, and a tour in Italy in December. Very soon we'll share the schedule. I've got many other projects coming in 2024, including a new quartet with European musicians, Martin Sass from Germany on piano, Dominic Sherman from Switzerland on bass, where if you listen to our episode 132, Dominic was on that release, and Fritz Landesbergen from Holland on drums. The project is called European Jazz Meeting. I hope you enjoyed this unique episode with Max Ionata. I have to say, I really loved all the songs on his new album, Like. If you're looking to purchase it, head on over to our website, Saxophone Podcast, where you'll get all the links to check out Max's site, his bio, and also you could check out our previous interview with him, episode 132. Now, I'd love to know what your favorite part of this episode was. Did you like the format? Let us know in the comments on our blog post, on our site at saxophonepodcast.com, on our YouTube video, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, anywhere else that you listen in. And if you like this episode, awesome. Show your support, share it with your saxophone playing friends, enthusiasts, music teachers, and please leave a great review on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to show your love and support for the show. Head on over to patreon.com/everythingsaxophone. That's one word, Everything Saxophone. Make a small donation each month to keep the great interviews coming and get searchable transcripts for many of the episodes as well as other bonus materials. That's patreon.com/everythingsaxophone. Once again, thanks for spending your time with us. On that note, take care. Have an awesome day.